I am live with the pulsating camera. Okay, you know what I think, guys? I think I figured out why it is my camera does that. As soon as I bring my light back in here, or at least, yep, I don't think it knows what to do with itself. All right, anyways, so you'll notice over here, and let me see if I can get this more centered so I can aim correctly. Sort of like my X marks the spot on the stage here. Panel I did last time, I talked about maybe wiping it off after, and I did exactly that so that I could settle the damn thing down and get a better composition, and that's what happened. I like this much better. It took a lot less time, probably because I wasn't talking through the whole thing. So let's see if I can manage to walk and chew gum this time. Hello, Dave Webster, ID Crisis Design. That is Identity Crisis because I couldn't think of a good name. And for whatever reason, I didn't feel like using my own. Every time, well, whatever, that's a whole other worthless comment. I'm going to start off with some yellow, although I think I'm going to go with a more of a school bus yellow, something that's not so bright and springy. So I got my easel over here, sword brush. Just going to put a little bit of catalyst in here, and again, this is one shot. Since I'm only going to be using a little bit of this color, so I don't need to put a ton into a little plastic cup and waste it. But I'll tell you one thing. Some of the other colors I was using the other day, they were so freaking thin. I had to just palette and palette and palette in order to get it to a consistency that I liked. But I think we're moving right along here. It's nice, and it should be like, from what I understand, it should be like honey. Just working it into the bristles. So what's going on is, at my job, we're real busy, and I've got this messed up schedule. How I got to that schedule was a little bit more of a personal story, but it has a lot to do with spending time with the family. So 2 weeks out of the every other pair of weeks, I'm on a midnight afternoon to early morning shift, and then the others I've got to get up early and do like the rest of the world. So, and here's the goocher. I'm going from an afternoon late night thing to where I wake up and the house is empty, and I can like not sleep in, but not force my body out of bed either. Okay, I'm putting like the simplest element right in the middle here, just because I want something nice and bright for the middle, and then I'm quitting on this panel. I'm not doing anything else. Let's see if I can get in here with this camera right at my head. So I'm going to be doing this bike rally thing about an hour away. I was late getting the hotel, so That's going to be fun. Getting in there, getting out of there, packing and unpacking stuff. And it's just me, because it's usually just me. I think it's never not been just me. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go right here. Maybe it might not. So this might not even be so bright that it's worth doing this, but I'm going to do it anyways because I'm an idiot. Get this one to be a little bit thicker here. This is where we really get to see where things are tight or uneven or whatever. The more of these lines you put down, the more squished everything gets, and you can see where things have been shifted over to one side or not. Yeah. It's all I wanted to do was put a little bit of yellow in there so that it would get some attention on that spot. I actually cleaned up around here too, which was a new thing. All right, I'm gonna thin this out a little bit. Just when I'm, thinning, I've got some, what did I put in there? Different solvents that break down enamels have different dry times. So you can have, like with urethane reducers, solvent-based urethane reducers, you can have fast and slow. Like xylol is slow, kerosene is even slower, naphtha is fast, toluene is not as fast. What did I get in here? Yeah, some medium slow, some xylene. And I don't, it's not something that I recommend. It's something that I picked up from a Glenn Weisgerber, who, when he uses this stuff, he uses this stuff like Bob Ross uses oil paints. So the guy's like, he's a mad scientist when it comes to using these. Okay, now this red here was actually cleared over. So I just brought a bunch of these into the booth one day and cleared them all so that I could, take them to work on them. So this is kind of a bit of a hybrid deal. And I am really, really trying to keep these as simple as possible. When I first started pinstriping, I was so, which a lot of us are, getting used to the tools, just putting down line after line after line and curve after curve after curve, trying to understand the tool and how to hold it and, build muscle memory. And so I ended up just stacking a bunch of lines on top of each other. And, as much as I tried to, in some of those early panels, they are like really complicated. I would never want to do anything like that now because it's just a waste of time and things get a little bit too crowded, but good practice. Looks like we got like, it's what I call superhero colors. We got superhero colors happening here. Oh, I got some chat. Hold on. Yeah, I got to look over to the left here to see what's happening. Thank you, Julius. Haven't seen you over. Yeah, you know what? That's it's rough because, well, actually, I think I did something stupid where I'm trying to separate my. In fact, it's funny. Julius is sitting right here. I separated my politics and my art stuff, so I have to like actually physically go over from one channel to the next. But I'm gonna fix that because yeah, I missed the, what was it, the last one he did? I think like Food Conservative did like 4 days ago, and it is like I'm like audibly disappointed, even if nobody's in the car or the room or whatever. I can still hear myself going, "Shit, I missed it." That was a fun show. I will endeavor to fix that. I'm trying not to get you know, boomer juice all over my online life, and it doesn't seem to be working out too well. But and a lot of times too, and you know, like Julius can attest to this, the politics and the politics and the comics there's a lot of crossover, so it's almost like trying to untangle them is a damn near impossibility. I'll be on the phone on one account, and then I'll go to, you know, comment, and I have to remember to hit that little icon up at the top so that it, you know, yeah, this is getting a little too thick over here, a little out of hand. I have to even it up on this side. Comicsgate or Comicsgate? I don't know if the space between those two really makes a difference. You'll still get pilloried for mentioning it if you happen to be on their side. It is a Comicsgate. Comicsgate is a, scare quotes, hate group. Which honestly, I think that whenever somebody says that you're a, you know, hate insert thing, hate group or whatever, what you really are is opposed to being, you don't, I'm not a group oriented person. And the ironic thing is that a lot of people who aren't group oriented people tend to group together and talk about how non-group oriented they are. Yeah. It's basically, that's it. Well, you're allowed to have an opinion, and it can even be your own in Comicsgate. It's basically what it is the people who love comics can't stand what's happening to the industry that they love. You can see it in the numbers. It is very objective. It's a very objective poison that's being that you know, writers are woke, producers are woke, and you know, people are being forced out of the industry and forced to do their own thing, which I think it's great. It's almost like, was it Jefferson that said about shaking the tree? And it's happening in this industry. Some people are very successful with it. Some people are doing it because they want to get back the thing that has been lost, which is having fun. A lot of the books that I have are you know, people doing this stuff for the first time, and it has this very much a garage band feel to it, where it's like that early heavy metal stuff or early punk, where you can tell they're not, you know, these guys are working with, they're not sponsored by Zildjian. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah. Well, if I don't need to explain, then I'll just get on to making sure this doesn't look like shit when I'm done. I might even stop right here so I can get this yellow onto some other stuff. Let's try this one, and I will demonstrate my invention. Available to all pinstripers and artists who want to give it a shizot. The powder lines template, the easy way to find your center. Tongue in cheek, keep it straight. I should be starting with yellow, but here we go. A nice big dollop. Let's kind of do what we did on the last one. I just want to feel like I accomplished something. I ended up getting sucked into this MAME OS X black hole thing where, you know, I'm trying to get a PS3 controller to be, or an Xbox 360 controller to be recognized on my 2008 Mac so that I can play some old arcade games. Just one, actually. Man, if this reaches out into the nether regions of the internet and there's somebody out there who wants to teach the kid how to get his computer to recognize a joystick consistently every time he plugs it in and run a Namco Assault ROM, man, give me the step-by-step video on that, because oh, that game was so cool. And it is not the kind of old-timey video game that you can use with a keyboard, because and I would look it up on YouTube, and it was a really, really cool game, top down, where the map spun everywhere and your character kind of like stayed in the middle, your little tank. And it's cool music, nice and you know, smooth graphics. It was, to me, one of the most original setups. And you know how like old games, they don't have to be super pretty, even though this one looked cool, and the design of the little like enemy tanks and stuff that looked really, really cool. Music was great, but the concept and the gameplay was man, I poured a ton of quarters into that freaking video game. No lie. Let me see if I want to. What do I want to do here? No, if I don't know, I'll wait. I'll just pull this down a little bit and move on to another one. Maybe, let's see, get something done on here. No. Yuck. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to get some rat fink. Clean some, thanks Latin, clean some this paint out of here. I think rat fink green to yellow and white is going to be a much better. Yeah, this is some thinner stuff too. I'm going to have to palette this out a little bit. So I probably would have got onto this a lot earlier, but we had one of those Wrath of God downpours yesterday while I was at work, and me being the intrepid homeowner, didn't get around to cleaning out one of the gutters on the front of the house. We got these trees that were never really maintained before we moved in, so I'm gonna have to like kind of go up there and chop the tops off of them because they're like getting all kinds of crap and seeds and stuff into the gutter. When I first went up there, it was like looking at a damn flower box, you know. And me being an amateur at this was couldn't figure out why the basement was getting wet. And we're at like the top of a hill, so like water runs downhill. Why is it not running downhill before it gets to us? So let's see, where am I at? So it's basically turning that gutter into a flower box, and I meant to get to it before. I mean, I had already figured it out, but I meant to you have to get back to it every like year or two. The more crap that gets in there, you know, autumn comes around and, you know, dumps a whole bunch of leaves and stuff in there. And I'm only reminded of this because I can hear the dehumidifier running in the next room. Naturally, it just is, it's absolute pouring like freaking buckets, and I'm at work. Yeah, sure, I can do that. I can do a video on the supplies. I can talk to it a little bit here. This is a Mac. If you're looking to get a gift basket together for your son because he wants to do this stuff, I would start with what's called a green wrap Mac, size 0. In fact, if you go to macbrush.com, and that's spelled M-A-C-K, not like Mac computer, but like Mac truck, mackbrush.com. They have a bunch of brushes there. A lot of the guys that I know from the trade sell their stuff. You would want to also go to vondago.com, V-O-N-D-A-G-O. Go to vondago.com. He sells those templates and those brushes. Mac Brush is more of a central hub. I don't know that they do. I haven't been there in a while, but I don't know that they actually do any online selling. But Vondago makes a lot of good brushes. If you're closer to California, then you will probably be best served by checking out Coast Airbrush as well. I'm over more mid-Atlantic. But One Shot is an enamel that I like to use. It comes with its own thinners. There is another Alpha 6. They're out of Detroit. They make some enamels. Then you can get some really good product at Tamco, TamcoPaint.com. They sell stripe effects. That is a urethane. It's a little bit different. But if he's just starting out, I would set him up with either some One Shot or some Alpha 6, because enamels are a little bit easier to work with if you're just that moved on me just for a second. See that little, see that, like, let's see if I can get the camera to see it. So I kind of like jogged over to the side right there. Damn it. So what do? Well, we make that nice and make it nice and fat so that it's even on both sides, and then try to work it into the design. And do the same thing on the other side. Nobody's perfect. As far as learning goes, the best, I mean, I can do a video on the technique that I used to get any good at this at all. But this is, working with sword brushes is not, yeah, you're in Cali, so there it is. Working with the sword brush is only part of it. These designs that are symmetrical, that's just one aspect of pinstriping. There's a lot of scroll work. Saw one guy, I can't remember his name, on Instagram, doing a little video, just, you know, way faster than me, just crawled right down the side of the thing and used one of these brushes to do scroll work that you normally use a completely different brush to do it with. And you know, you can tell that was just one of those, he does it every day, and it's probably not even his mind doing it, it's just his body doing it, which is what you're looking for. You want to be able to have your muscle memory so on point that you don't spend time doing what I'm doing, like, oh, where should I put the next line? You know, your mind has more room to work with creatively because you're not using your brain to figure out how to keep the line straight. Your body's just already doing it. I think I had expressed in a previous video explaining it the way my sister has a slight, she has a touch of cerebral palsy, which gives her a pigeon toe walk. And then she was explaining it to me the one day. She's like, you know, it's the kind of thing where people who just don't have to think about where their next footstep is going, they don't have to spend the brain power on that. They just kind of like walk around. So, you know, where she actually has to use a portion of her awareness for how to, you know, not potentially fall on some uneven pavement or something like that. And it's kind of like that with this. You know, the more your body just does it and gets used to it, the less brain power you have to think. You don't have to think about the mechanics of it, so you have extra room to think about the creativity of it and what you're going to do next with this stroke or that stroke, that kind of thing. And it's like on one hand, and I can't stress it enough, of the, you know, the job that I go to it's a very good job. It is not a hard job. It is a well-paying job. It does not really, it's not, I wouldn't consider it to be very rewarding creatively at all, but it does make it so that I don't have to, you know, get emotional about, you know, how much artwork do I have to get done this month in order to pay for this or that or the other thing. I've been there before, and especially in this region, it is not easy. Western Pennsylvania is not I would put it this way, most people who want to get something customized are only going to get mud on it later. Not that that's bad, but so, but yeah, a Mac Zero green wrap. I think this is the blue wrap. I mean, there's a ton of brushes I've got. I could pull them all out. In fact, maybe the next video I do, I'll go through my kit, because it is a it's a monster, honestly, Latin. I've got brushes in there that I haven't even gotten wet yet. And but then again, it's one of those, if I was sitting down here doing it every day, then that might change. So let's see. I don't know if I want to put, what do you think? Maybe? Let's see, maybe just a little bit, since I have it out. Yeah, could be. Could be. Yeah, I would be happy to I'd be happy to get into that. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned it, because sometimes I'm struggling to figure out, what my next video should be. I'm making this, God, I hope I'm making this transition so that I think I talked about it in the last video, where I'm leaving the shop area that I pay rent for, because um, I'm I'm tired of the dirty auto body part of things. Um, Mostly because that's the hardest part of doing this job, and it's the least return on investment, especially when it comes to, yeah, I don't think that I'm going to do that ever again. That super tight crisscross should be more pronounced, I think. um, it's the part of the job that nobody sees, so they don't understand why they're paying for it. Your primer, your everything that's going to keep the paint from falling off or rusting or whatever. There's a lot of material. There's a lot of overhead involved, and the only reason why I ever started doing it at all was because I couldn't find somebody. I couldn't find somebody who could do it good and do it on my timeline. I was usually going to another body shop that already had a bunch of projects, insurance jobs, and the like. So I couldn't tell my customers when stuff was going to be done, because I didn't know when it was going to be done or if it was going to be done right. So I just started doing it myself, and there's a lot of learning. And then after a couple of years, I'm just like questioning myself, like, why am I bothering? This isn't art. Um, I know enough where I can consult with, someone else's painter, for instance. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this right here, but whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, sure, I'll paint your motorcycle tank. Tell the guy who's going to paint it for you to bring it to me like this. And then, but then still, I'm not even sure how much longer I want to do this stuff either, because I don't have the time to do this and work and try to produce a comic book. Yeah, it's getting a little bit tight right here. This is what happens. I start running off at the mouth. Shut up and paint, Dave. So, all right, Latin, take it easy. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate the company. It's always what happens. Whenever I start whining about shit, people take off. I can't imagine. There's a connection. I'll find it someday. Yep, that's right. I got the green out. And these are superhero colors, so this will actually work just around the edges, I believe. I believe we'll be okay. Come on. Should probably keep an eye on the time. I have no idea. Okay, good. Get out of there. All right. No, that's one down. I have to remember to just not care about these as much because they are meant to just go. I mean, if they don't sell, they're going to be stocking stuffers, which I'm okay with. This is a weekend that I am. I'm looking forward to it, okay, but I'm also looking forward to it being over. I'm going to be driving back on a Sunday where I need to go to bed early because I got to get up early, which means, depending on when I leave and drive back, pack all the stuff up, drive back, unload it, put it all away, and there's going to be a ton of it. Let's see. I know I should probably be using a different color here, but I'm just going to get some establishing lines down and then clean the brush out. So this stuff is starting to, what do you call it? Starting to harden up already. I can feel it, so it's ready to get it out of the brush. little handy tool here, the paint pusher for when you've gone too far. That ain't gonna work. Too long. Too long. Okay. Okay. Well, this might even be a better way to go here. Yeah, I think I am naturally coming down into this area, so it's probably going to make for better strokes. And geez, all I got to do is not be an idiot and move the frickin' camera. See if I can line it up a little bit better. I wonder if this might even work better. Still figuring this shit out as I go along, guys. I'm like, what's in the way, what's out of the way, and what am I not going to bump into. But like pinstriping, man, it's just like the more I do it, the more better it gonna be. I think I started up higher on the other one. Let's try to even it out and then never talk about it again. it might be time to toss this brush. I'm not blaming the brush, but my left-handed turns are not spinning the way that I like. Yeah, that's it for that color. Let's rinse this baby out. Here's a fun fact. While you're looking at your piece, as you're rinsing out your brush, you will inevitably see something like this, where you're like, that one's longer than this one, but now I'm rinsing the brush out. So what do we do? Where's the dish? Right here. I'm just gonna dab this into a little bit of thinner. I'll wipe it off. Just go and shove that sucker into submission. Of course, this is more OCD than one need be for a little panel like this. I mean, I'm not saying don't care about your craft, but you got to realize when you're dealing with hamburger, not steak. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this brush in here for a little bit. Let the gravity pull that junk out of the barrel, and geez, what other color is going to go with this? It's going to work. You know, it might be just try another base color on this stuff. I think let's get the ladies involved and start getting some purples and pinks in on these guys. Get rid of this. This here, this is my palette. It's basically just full of like magazine pages that I've chopped up. Strangely enough, this is some work that was published in a free Take One Pennsylvania Thunder Roads magazine a little while, like last year, I think last year, 2 years ago. So every once in a while, when I'm paleting my brush, I'm paleting it over my own stuff. Okay, get out the powder lines. Looking good up there. Good down there. Wang. Bam. Wang bam. I'm having fun tonight. I'm wang chunging tonight. So the advantage to this, if anybody's still listening or going to be listening, a lot of times what you do, a lot of artists, pinstripe artists, and the like, will use a water soluble pencil, and you know, get a ruler, you know, and draw their lines this way. It's water soluble, so whenever you're done doing your design, you wait for the paint to dry, and then you got to wipe it off with a wet rag to get rid of those pencils. And very often, and I've seen it quite a bit, those pencils will actually not to a huge degree, but you never know who you're dealing with. Some people are very, very extra about their bikes. And if you put a pencil line down there and then you go to wipe it off, you can actually leave a little tiny bit of scoring in the clear. And there's no getting rid of that without sanding and buffing it. So now you're sanding and buffing around this design. One way or the other, get in there. One way or the other, and maybe it's because I've been, doing the body work end of things for so long. But yeah, these pencils, this Staedtler non-permanent water-soluble pencil, it is soft, but sometimes, especially if you're outside in the sunlight, things tend to get soft. Some of the other colors, they make red, blue. Some of those don't wipe up as well. But this, I mean, this is chalk. It just wipes off very easily. And I think it's a great, alternative to taking the risk of, damaging someone's finish. This looks like I missed one here. I'll give you like a demonstration, and you can see this stuff on my website, idcrisisdesign.com. I sell this. I've got some shirts for sale. The Spinster tool for turning gold leaf. I'll grab this bad boy. And now the tool itself, whenever you get it, it comes with this, and it comes with this this chalk bag. That other pounce pad that I have, you can get that from Hansi Creations. It's mostly used for quilting, oddly enough. The pounce pad, that is, not the powder lines template. So I'm just like lining up my dots and stuff around the edge of the around the edge right here, and finding my center, which these little notches will tell you exactly where the middle is. Then you get your bag and you just rub it, and there you go. You put your chalk bag back in your Ziploc bag so that you don't get nasty, dusty mess all over the rest of the tools in your kit, and off you go. All right, so what are we working with here? We're going to get some purples. Nope. Maybe. Yes. 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 And perhaps yes and yes. Okay. So I'm going to grab these guys here. And I'm going to start with a little bit lighter version of this by putting some of this lavender into it. And then we'll see how far we can get on these. I'm going to try to keep them all in the same color family because I don't want to do a whole lot of switching up. Actually, no, I'm going to start with this guy. I'll start with this not quite awesome red. It has a nice, it'll show up, but it won't be such a bright first color. And that way, am I missing one over here? Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is one I did a couple days ago. So I'm kind of going for this like subtle red on red thing, and then put on some brighter colors and some brighter colors, etc., etc. And I'm gonna pull out a different brush. Crying out loud! I mean, I own all these freaking things. I should try to get these things dirty. What I have in here. Yeah, I'm gonna use yeah. Let's see what a Von Dago. What did I get from him? Jeez, that's a lot. I should be using the smaller ones. Okay. since I'm working on some smaller stuff, yeah, this one's looking a little bit raggedy, but this is what we're going to do here. I'm going to put that beast in some oil. Some, it's not necessarily brush oil. You can get some brush oil anywhere you want to. This has been working for me for a long time. 30 weight, non-detergent motor oil. I do not use transmission oil. I could use neat's foot oil, but my understanding is it actually attracts bugs. So let's see. I know that a lot of these brushes, and this is going to be an important thing. So, I mean, I realize this is really late in the video, but it's important since we're pulling out a new brush. And that is this. You do not use a brush like this way out in the beginning without trimming it. And what you'll see is, let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There's two little hairs sticking out of the top. And I'm talking about just, it's a matter of like 2 millimeters, kind of squared up like that. Now this brush is ready to be used. A lot of times when they're packed, they are packed with a size, which is just a fancy word for glue, which is a fancy word for gelatin or egg white or something like that. And all it does is preserve the brushes in shipping, and you know, just keeps them nice for when fine folks like ourselves want to use them for the first time. And again, usually, I mean, if I'm doing a bigger job, I'll put the stuff in a medicine cup. But this is a brand new brush. This is a Vendego. Let me get some of this off so it doesn't drip all over. This is a Vendego. You see that? Vendego Pro Series Triple Aught. So it's a skinnier brush. It's going to have skinnier hairs, and we are going to use it because we're working on skinnier panels. It's got a nice lacquered handle. A lot of times when handles on these brushes are lacquered, and you might end up dropping them into your cleaning fluid or your mineral spirits. I have lacquer thinner. Again, it's a mix of lacquer thinner and dirty stuff that you know, like mineral spirits, other mineral spirits and things like that, because a lot of times I use urethanes, and you cannot get the urethanes out of the brush with mineral spirits. So all right, we're gonna go. I'm gonna try to have some discipline and do some super basic, just like before. But I don't want to go like a new pair of shoes. That other brush, I mean, you can tell when they're starting to wear out, and you go to do a turn from one side to the next, and it just for some reason it doesn't want to obey. And then you get your mitts on something new like this, and you're like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Let's try going up. We'll do this. See a nice V down here. Now I'm just going to look from one side to the other. If you can see these dots, I know it might be a little bit dark. The camera's not handling contrast, so I'm going to go from here and look to the other side, and I'm like right there is where that stroke is going to want to start. And that's really what the template is for. It gets you started on that first color, and once you get that stuff super evened up, and because what you're basically doing is measuring each stroke off of the last stroke. So if you can get each one of these beginning strokes to be super even, then all of the work that you do for the rest of the design. Oh, baby. Oh, that's that left turn. See, I'll be explaining this in later videos too, but when you are pulling a curve, you're actually trying to turn the brush one way or the other as you're pulling the stroke. So I'm going to go halfway between here. I want to end up on that dot. Now I want to keep it simple again, so I'm going to throw one of these like here. I'm going to go right next to this dash. I'm going to go nice and skinny. I'm going to close it off early, just like on this side. And then we're going to try a little, I'm just getting a little creative here. Little dash here, little dash here. Ah, this brush feels so good. I probably shouldn't be talking like this. It might even sound a little obscene, but Ron Dago's got he's got a neat little brush going on here. Okay. I feel like it's pretty heavy at the top here. There's a lot of meat here, not a lot of meat down here, and that's fine. I'm going to save that for later. But I am going to do what I tend to always want to do, which is put a border on it. Got a bunch of these going at the same time, so even if I don't get them done, it's still nice to have something out on the table, so people can watch you paint, and that's going to be the thing. A lot of times, that's the thing that sells them on, should I trust this joker with, painting on my bike, when they can see that you're doing it right there on the spot. That's it. Well, actually, this could be thickening up just a little bit now that I'm looking at it. Now that it's upside down, you know how that works. All right. Good to go there. Leave that like that. No other reason, man. I'm getting a lot of practice in today, let me tell you. Normally, or at least for the last week and a half, I've been going out with the dog and running so that my fat ass doesn't feel like the 50 years old that it is. Let's see. I'm gonna do one of those fish maneuvers like before. Yeah, this is gonna be like real subtle because it's hardly showing up on this red at all. In fact, I can barely see the point because I can barely see the paint stroke. Which means if I can't see it in real life, I doubt you guys can see it on YouTube. Yeah, I'm not even going to go further. That's just, it's pointless. If you can't see it, you can't see it. Blah, 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 yada, yada. I'm not a huge fan of doing red on green because it always makes me feel, it's just two things. It's either Christmassy or it makes me think of like the Italian flag. So in and of itself, it's not a bad thing. It's just it's hard for me to not see that, so I tend to not do it. It is on, you know, two opposite sides of the color wheel, but it's just too opposite. I'm going to rinse that out. Make sure it's rinsed out real good. And in case you guys haven't seen this before, I'll try to do repeat some of this technique and stuff each time I do one of these videos, because I end up like, who wants to go searching for some other one where it's like, oh yeah, that's the one bit of information I need in this one video from 2 years ago. You can see the red, I hope. I'm going to have to do better with the camera and contrast and stuff. You see how it's like, it's not just wet, but it's like a little bit red. That's how you know that you're drawing that, you know, you're drawing the color out of the brushes. And that's one of the reasons why I put them in that oil afterwards, is because it's something that kind of helps to break down the paint particles and keep them separated from the bristles themselves, so that when you go to rinse it out the next time before you go to use it, all that paint that you couldn't get out the last time is more than likely going to be leaving the brush again. And the one thing that you don't want to do is to spend money on brushes that you don't need to. I also need to come up with a better way of storing my... I'm laying my my hardener down on this cutting mat, and it's leaving... it's just making a mess over here. I'm going to end up having to get another one of these things before long. Just the one area over here on the lower right where all the paint splotches are. I want to be able to use this for other stuff besides... I want to draw on here and not make it too much of a mess. Okay, so let's go with the... See, this is what I mean. Like, yes, subtle, but probably too subtle. So... I'm going to dump this page here. Sometimes I'll just fold it in half and use the little bit on this side, because I am a, you know, what do you want to call it? Conservationist? Conservationizer? Okay, so that, we'll put some of this lavender down and some of the purple and mix those together and see if we can get some basic strokes on this one and this one. And then, you know, maybe, whoops, sorry, bumped the camera. Maybe add some to this. Who knows? Or dares to dream. Now that I got the camera closer, I kind of have to like crowd the shot in order for so you can see everything I'm doing. It doesn't have to be a ton lighter. It might even be too light, but hamburgers. You know, hamburgers. Come on, stand up. All right. I'm actually just going to mix this around a little bit first. Make sure that catalyst is good mixed in there. Coffee stirs. I got boxes and boxes of these things because I hate I hate thinking that I'm somehow ill prepared, because, you know, all you got to do is forget something one time, and I don't want to go all the way to this thing for this weekend and then realize that like I forgot paper towels or something. And I always manage to forget like one thing. And then what? You know, you're a stranger in a strange land, and you got to stop everything and, you know, either improvise or go get something and leave your shit behind, and it's no good. All right. Big teardrop. Let's see how we do with that. Press down and pull up as you pull away. this is this paint's kind of thin. Each color, I mean, if it's anything like you know, the airbrush colors I was using when I was, you know, first learning, one of the things that you pick up on is that the different colors have different formulations, and while they are all similar in texture as far as how they feel, they do all have their own attitude. Black tends to be greasy. Some colors are chalky, some colors are gummy. Some other colors are affected by weather differently for painting outside. And I don't want to make this too fat, but I do want it to be as even as possible. Okay, I might outline that with something too, just to try to even up those edges. Let's put another one out here. Kind of like that one with the red, kind of like this. Same thing. Just press it down and then pick it up as you pull downward and get a nice little wedge there. Right. Regular line. We're going to go to here. We can start putting something fancy together. So, I mean, semi-fancy. We don't want to go, at least I don't. Who's this we I'm talking about? I don't want to go super fancy on this. Just trying to have the discipline to do a couple of basic lines, get that first color established. Keep it hamburger. Try not to fit a steak in here. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little flatter on this, but again, okay, it's friggin' hamburger. We'll fix it right like this. Do here. Do this. And just have these elements sitting off to the side, on either side. Same thing. I mean, as long as I've got the brush, as long as I got paint on the brush, there's I can, let's see, add some interest here. And then bring that shit all the way down to the bottom. I'm okay with that. And the and this is actually starting to feel really good. It's got a nice sticky drag to it. So it's one of the things that makes you want to, you know, keep painting. Okay. I should have done the left side first, but I'm an idiot, so I'm gonna have the template steer this inside, and hopefully I will be right on the mark. So inside of this dash, and then kind of on the outside, but still cutting across this dash, next to this one, next to this one, just touching this one, just touching this on the other side, and then kind of like that. It's like Giss and like Gat and like Giss, Santa. And then down here, bang, again. Pull this as straight as I can. I mean, it has been a while since I just did straight up this much striping. on you know, these panels and stuff. And what I want to keep myself from doing, just as like an artistic philosophy here, is it's not even so much. This is kind of like a two-tiered thing. Yes, I want to sell these. In fact, if I came back empty-handed, because I like took down every display that I've ever hung up, except for a couple that I just can't sell because they're in rough shape. They're, you know, they travel around, so they get chipped, and you know, they get damaged. But I also, this is also like a more of a weight room type deal. I'm not gonna get all on my own case about how like most of the stuff that I do, it tends to look the same. If it looks good to somebody, then great. It doesn't have to be like where I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I really love that. I've never done anything like that before. Because the chances are, okay, let's be honest, if it looks cool to me, cool and strange and new, my experience has been no one cares but me, you know. So, you know, most of these Von Dutch designs, I mean, they're all influenced by all the other stuff that I've seen. My other artist friends who, you know, who do this. I really didn't want that to touch, but whatever. So it's really just an amalgam of that and a couple of maneuvers that I tend to fall into. I don't do a lot of S curves, you know, but I can. Whoops. Just getting my knuckle right off the end of that thing. Paint pusher to the rescue. You guys see this? Still wet, so I can just kind of like squeegee it over and clean this line up. And then put this back in. Yes, the frame's getting crowded. I need to set these things somewhere where they can dry and I can't be a complete bull in a china shop. So, yeah, like I'll notice something like that. Like let's there's plenty of paint on the plenty of paint right here on the palette. So I might even, just to be on the safe side, palette in some 1 drop of hardener. Yeah, the S curve, the staple in every pinstriper's arsenal. This is one of the basic strokes. It's the curve, and then twist the brush back the other way. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now as I'm looking at this, I don't know that anybody else is going to see it because this is just me being critical. I'm a little late coming in this side, this right here. If it was a little closer, I think we'd be good. I'm not going to let it bother me because that's as close as I could get if I was doing old school, just running a piece of tape down the middle, you know, one center line, and then you start striping. A lot of times, I mean, that's how I used to do it before I was using the template. And I'm using the template because I want to, you know, it works and I want to sell the damn thing. But it's almost like a matter of like old school pride. You know, when I first released this thing and guys were looking at it, they're like, ah, hell, I can do that with just like a piece of tape down the middle. I'm like, yeah, well, it's got other properties to it. Not the least of which is when you need to balance something on two sides, I mean, do you want to run around with a measuring tape and pencils and scrawl all over the thing? Or do you just want to lay the template down on the same side, on the same area on both sides, and count the squares? You know, one of the things that I do with this is if I have a pin, come on, get that point up there. I'll be doing some pinstripe repair on somebody's car. And it'll have some design element somewhere on that side of the undamaged side. I take a picture of it. I put the grid on there. I take a picture of it. And then I flip it over on my phone so that I can see that I can match it on the other side. You know, and, you know, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, like, are they really going to notice? Because you have to, you know, have the superpower of being in two places at once, literally, to be able to see that. But yeah, I mean, it is. It's kind of like a matter of pride a little bit. All right, I'm going to come off of here, and I'm going to do another one. Come off of here, just kind of, when I kick it out, I just like drag the brush to the side, and that gives me that bit of twist that I need. It's like a little bit of a head start on the twist, and then swing it out. Yeah, and you can see there's a little bit of inconsistency here at the bottom. But let's not make it look like a machine did it. That looks uncustom. It looks cheap. You know, we don't want it to look like crap, but we don't want it to look like it. We don't want it to look like it was made by something without a pulse. And I don't know, I might just leave this purple here like this. I'm not sure. But of course I can't. Do this. Do that. Yeah, when the paint's flowing just right, nice new brush. You can just touch the tip of the brush. Just touch it just a little bit while you drag and spin, and bam! And we're pretty even right here. I'm almost balls on. Balls on. Conqueror of the universe. Okay, and then super amazo. Little things right there. Yeah, so I mean, this is like a little bit of a yes, I'm doing these panels. Yes, I want to sell them, but I also need to shake off some of this rust, you know, before I start going in there and taking way too long on some of these bikes that I know I'm going to be doing. So let's see how fast I can pull this line and make it straight. I don't even know what I want to do with that. I'll just close it off here and get another color in there later. We'll figure this out as we go along. I know I'm not supposed to care, but whatever. I am anyways. So deal with it. Make this one was a little bit too long anyways. I'm going to stop right there. Yeah, stop there. I want to come in super skinny right here. And then come out, and then, yeah, it's better than it was. So good, Dave. Good, Dave. Good boy. Let's check my time again. How long have I been up here? 4:08. I got a couple more minutes, and then. Oh, well, where? I mean, RV. From here, not really. That's no one's ever asked me that in my life. Not that it isn't an important question, and then I guess I'm flattered that you think I would know all kinds of cool stuff like that. But a cheap RV, cheap is kind of a relative term. I mean, is a possible you might do way better on a Craigslist, and hopefully the not you don't get trolled. I'm sorry I didn't look over at the. Yeah, it's 5 minutes ago. I should have looked over there before. Must sell or foreclose on his home. It's never occurred to me. I mean, what I've always wanted to have is like a custom van, but that's almost a different discussion altogether. Over here, I don't know. I don't know anybody, honestly. That's and I mean, I hope things work out for your pal, but I'm not. Of all the things I wish I was a connoisseur of, that is the RVs is not among them. Incidentally, the guy that sells these things and all of his other supplies travels the country in one of those selling this stuff. Von Dago would know way more about RVs than I would. Honestly, those things I've worked on them before, like done like some vinyl graphics for church friends and lettering and stuff like that for some of my trucking my trucking customers, but every time I'm around one of those things, I'm imagining what it would be like to drive one, and I would not. I mean, I'm happy in a pickup truck or a van, but if I go bigger than that, I'm afraid I'm going to end up like getting into a place that's way too tight and never get back out again without causing damage, which has actually happened to me before. Maybe that's why I'm afraid of them. I mean, how are you guys surviving out there in Cali? That's another thing I hope I'd never have to do it. I'm always under the impression that it's like a ton of money, and maybe it's just the news sources that I'm surrounded by, but a ton of money to live in a place that's surrounded by a ton of problems. Is that me, or is that really how it is? Yeah, see, purple on the green really makes sense because, as my buddy Wizard had said, that you find these colors in nature, and I could actually get some browns and tans and stuff in here and have it look like it absolutely just belongs. If I go with like an outright red, maybe as a subtle color that, as a subtle color that is used very sparingly and later on in the design, that would make more sense, like a rose or a raspberry or something like that.
Hello?
Hi. Sorry, I'm yelling into the mic, guys. Somebody just came home. It was a reflex action. When ye old lady walks through the door, you always scream hello. Otherwise, she'll think that you're dead or trapped under something heavy. And we don't want to scare ye old lady. We also don't want to tell her that we just called her ye old lady. I get in trouble for that. But she doesn't watch this channel, so oh well. This is going to be the last couple of strokes here, and then I'm going to call it. I got to get my self together and make myself suitable for public consumption before I head out the dough and go to worky durky. A little too wide too soon, but she is what she is. I'll take it. Here's the thing. You can see like one side is a little bit wider than the other. I'm going to practice some discipline and not care about that. Once I turn the camera off, I'll probably fix it. But this is one of those things where just like, you know what, move on to the next thing. You're talking the whole time about how it's hamburgers and not steak. The only person who's going to care about that is you, unless you bring it up and bore somebody with the story about how you fixed it. So yeah, I got most of them started. No, I got all of them started, except for these guys over here. These guys here, they're just full of way too much texture. I'd have to sand those and polish them, and there's not enough time. And I've got more stuff to sell. So take it easy, everybody. Be cool. Thanks so much for hanging out, Latin and. Man, you know what? See, and this is water sewage. I'll show this since I'm over here by the computer. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck between the microphone and the computer. So if I come over here, I got to talk louder so you can actually hear me. 60. Oh my. Wow. Yeah. Wow. See, and here in Western PA. There are sewage and water are not, I mean, they are utilities, but I don't know to the extent that they're regulated. I'm always under the impression that California is going to regulate the balls off of shit. And like when I first moved here from Western New York, I didn't know that you paid to have your garbage taken away. It was just something that happened with the property taxes. Sewage, same thing. Here we have a septic tank, so that's a whole other thing. It's basically its own running nasty, gross ecosystem under the ground until it has to get pumped out or whatever. So you might pay $200 every 2 years to have something like that happen. But yeah, your water situation out there is super messed up, isn't it? Because you're all like droughting and stuff. Yeah. Yes. I read about this. This is one of the things that scares me so much about like BlackRock and other equity firms that have trillions of dollars available to them that are buying up entire neighborhoods full of stuff for 30 to 40% over what it's worth. And I will not sell this place for the. Even though it's like 100-year-old piece of crap, it's still going to be more expensive If I was to sell this for 3 times as much as it was worth, I would probably get half as much house if I tried to find it somewhere else, because it's, I've heard stories like that. Sold their house right away, got paid more than they asked for, and then couldn't find a house to buy. They had to go rent. Yeah. See, that doesn't make a lot of sense either. I mean, people need to eat. What are you going to do? What are you going to do without farms? So you're going to go to this overpriced rental thing and hope that your little victory garden is enough to feed you? I don't know. It's strange. Like every day I hear a news story about somebody doing something that doesn't make sense. It makes your eyebrow, it makes you do that Spock face. When your one eyebrow goes up and you're like, fascinating. I wonder what this is all about. But yeah. You know what? And you read enough. You need to get out of my head is what you need to do. There was a for a couple of years there, from like 2007, there was a 2008. I don't know. All I remember is Obama was president, and I was listening to a lot of like the economy collapsed fiction, or like zombie stuff. And I honestly think that might have something to do with why The Walking Dead was so popular, was because it was it was already in their head in a different form. Like Godzilla is something that came from dropping the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You do something like Cloverfield, and that's going to be a entertainment reflex action from 9/11. And I think that's one of the things where you can kind of feel that something's not right out there. Something out there, the din is making this weird noise, and society's doing things that you're not quite sure what it means. But for some reason, The Walking Dead is the most popular show on TV for how many years? And I don't think that's insignificant. Yeah. Yeah, see, this is gonna, all right. Well, yeah, but they're also forced into the situation. I don't want to be forced into the situation. I mean, but then again, how many times in life are we not forced into a situation? Very rarely. You have to work. You have to. You got to live. You got to eat. I'm not looking forward to. And here's going to be the odd thing is it going to be some sort of a tipping point where you just know, and everybody has it in their the primordial ooze in their head, that the whole thing is finally done, and it's all of a sudden everyone for themselves? That's not something that I'm looking forward to trying to figure out. But see, I was debating on whether I should be doing one of these videos or whether I should be doing something with my other channel, because this is the kind of stuff that, you get the right person commenting, and it will spiral out into some really interesting stuff. But well, yeah, you know what? I had to get through the last season myself. I left it go for like a while, just because I'm going to even know exactly what happened. Probably something with, the world started spinning in a different direction for me. So I just didn't have time to watch. But I know it's out there still. There's another one that I just started watching, like 2 episodes of it last night, called Black Summer. And it seems like it's a little bit of a low budget version. I'm looking to see exactly what's different about it. But it might be worth checking out the first episode of it. And I think it's on, I can't remember exactly what I was But if you're looking for a way to find a show and you don't know what streaming service it's on, look up the Real Good app, ReelGood. Real Good. You just put in the show that you're looking for, and I will. Yeah, because I got like 7 minutes before I got to bail, so. Well, I don't know that this stream is on anyone's radar, but fair use. I mean, why can't you criticize somebody's work? It's okay. It's good stuff. But yeah, I would check out the it's spelled like this. Look that up. It makes it real easy so that you're not like it'll cross-reference every streaming service that you have. That way, you're not going to look on Netflix and Hulu and whatever else you might have individually. It'll just you tell it what you've got, and it finds it if it's out there, and it will tell you if it's not. But I'm going to get out of here and go to work. Yeah, well, I guess on one hand, I may think it might be like an adventure because I've never had any problems yet. I don't have time to figure that stuff out. But I've heard stories of, going back and trying to figure out exactly what it was that I said or didn't say or should have said to keep the damn thing up on a string. It's just an app on like the Apple Store or Google Play. I believe it's also its own like website, but I use it on my phone. So, but I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out for real. I've only got a couple of minutes before I have to get in the truck and take off. So I'm going to remember to do work on the next one and go through and catalog like what my kit looks like, where I got the brushes from, and the paints and stuff like that. So if that sounds good to you, I'll make sure that I try to find and DM you to let you know exactly when that gets started. So, but you guys take it easy. Thanks again for hanging out, and I will talk to you guys soon. Be safe out there.